There is nothing better on a cold day when it's snowing and the temperatures are dropping than to get into the kitchen, create a wonderful, hearty, warm meal for your family. And we're doing some weekly resets as well. So some batch cooking, stocking up. Welcome to Pinebrook Homestead. My name is Marie, if you are new here. If you are returning, welcome back. I am so excited to be back in the kitchen. I don't know how many of you knew that I was out of town last week. I did put up 2 videos showing where I went and then talking to you about how strong you really are. But I am back home and I could not wait to get all the laundry done and just reset the house and get back in my groove of my weekly routines. I don't know about you, but I love getting away. But about 3/4 of the way through, I cannot wait to get back home. So today we are making some chicken broth for a soup that I have planned for Wednesday this week, and I can share that recipe with you. We are making some homemade pasta and a ragu that is out of this world. So I have tips and tricks on this ragu, and if you are watching your sugar content, you'll want to stick around. All right, let's get started on our homemade pasta. Now this is an easy recipe. You can use semolina flour, which is what I am using, or you can use all-purpose flour. I just happen to have this down in the basement and the best by date is gone and past. So we are gonna use this up versus letting it just sit down there. So let's get started with this. And we are using the food processor. I will link this recipe in the description box below. There's a couple different ways you can do it, by hand with a food processor or even a KitchenAid. So that was fun, but they said this was the easiest way, so I'm gonna try it. Let's see what we can do here. So you need 2.5 cups of the semolina flour, or all-purpose flour. It feels so good to be back in the kitchen, I have to tell you. I got into the kitchen and started deep cleaning everything, and I've got my teapot cleaning. You know that the Bidem teapot. Oops, you know me and flour, I make a mess. Okay, so the Bidem teapot, it makes the perfect cup of tea because it does not oversteep the tea, and it keeps it at the perfect temperature, and it makes the perfect cup of tea. But I have to tell you, the base on it is cracking, and there's more flour. The base on it is cracking, and I'm like, it's for the price I paid for it. I don't know that I would recommend it to anybody. I think when this thing goes kaput, I am just going to find a glass teapot with an infuser that I can put on my stovetop. It's just, you know, one of those things that I thought was cool. It does make the perfect cup of tea. It also brews coffee. It's like an percolator. But I don't know. I just don't feel like it's as well made for the price. Has anybody else tried the Bidem? I know I see toasters out there and everything else, and it's not cheap. And I don't think, like I would not recommend it to anyone. All right, let me get this flour. So we're gonna set the flour aside, and then we need 4 eggs at room temperature. So I took these out earlier and let them sit at room temperature. So we're gonna put our eggs in here. I need to actually call my egg lady and see if her chickens are laying eggs again. I don't know, with the snow, I might be out of luck. All right. So we've got our 4 eggs in there. And then it says a teaspoon of a fine salt. I am using Redmond real salt. I typically store 3 different kinds of salts in my kitchen. A lot of it is because of the canning. Whenever I am making sauerkraut or pickles or anything like that, I do use Redmonds. They are a phenomenal salt. I also carry kosher salt and then pink Himalayan. And then the last thing that we need for this is a tablespoon of olive oil. So we are just going to put that tablespoon in. Whoops. All right. So we have all of our ingredients in the food processor. I'm just going to pulsate this up and we're going to get it to where we have a dough. All right, here we go. A couple more times. It is crumbly in there, and then I am gonna take a little bit of the semolina powder, flour. This is very fine powder. And just put it on my cutting board. And then let's pull. This blade is so sharp. I have cut myself so many times on it. And we are going to make a dough ball with this. How many of you have tried making your own pasta? I have before with a recipe like this and was very successful. I have with my daughter-in-laws. Oh, and it was good, but there was something about the recipe here that did not work out well. So let me show you this. And I don't think it's too wet. And I'm just going to scoop all this up. So this would be somewhat of an egg noodle. There are different kinds of doughs that you can make that don't include egg. But I wanted to try this one out today. All right, I am gonna push this forward and grab my saran wrap. And we're just gonna wrap it up and put it in the refrigerator until we are ready to roll it out and make our noodles. Here we go. I am so excited to do this. I love doing things like this. So I hope if you've never tried it that you'll give it a try, but I'll continue showing you the rest of the steps and then we'll get started on the ragu. So here I have about a medium or smaller red onion. And my husband and I grew shallots last year. And I kind of need to use some of them up before they go bad. So I'm just adding some shallots, but the recipe calls for a large red onion. And you can substitute white if you don't have red. If you want to use some shallots, you can. But I'm just chopping these up. This is such a simple ragu recipe because the ingredients are just ingredients that you would have. An onion, boy, that shallot is strong. But you would have an onion, some garlic. You'll need basil, and I'll show you what I use for that. So I am just chopping up my garlic, and I have 3 cloves of garlic here. And this recipe is inspired by another Giada recipe. She does things a little bit differently, and I do things how my family really enjoys it. But this is by far our favorite ragu. I'm just gonna chop up that garlic. I guess I can move that and you can see the garlic. Just a rough chop. I'll put that in the bowl. And then I have some carrot. This is the secret ingredient. So for the carrot, I am gonna chop the ends off and reserve those for my broth bags. And I want to dice these into smaller pieces. Now, I am using tomato sauce. And the tomato sauce that I am using is what I made from our tomato harvest. I believe it's not last year's harvest. Last year's harvest is still in the freezer, which I need to be working on. But anytime I make tomato sauce, I do not use sugar, I use carrots. And what the carrot will do is it will actually cut the acidity of the tomato. So when most people would use sugar to cut the acidity, if you are trying to get rid of the sugar in your diet or lessen the sugar in your diet, this recipe is all for you. Plus, you're adding some additional vegetables to the sauce. So this is my secret ingredient, is the carrot. And this is what I learned from Giada. And the minute that I learned this, it was all game over, because it changed everything how I do sauce, even when canning. All right. After I get this done, I am going to turn you around to the skillet, and we are gonna put this sauce into play. Oh, one last special ingredient, a Parmesan Rind. So simple ingredients, I'll show you the meat. Let's get turned around to the stove and we are good to go. All right, so I have my Lodge Dutch oven heating up, and if you followed me at all, you'll know that I grow a lot of basil, and this is basil in olive oil. So I am going to put 2 of these in here. If you do not have any frozen basil, you can use dried basil, or you can pick up one of those basil plants from the grocery store and use that as well. So I am just going to melt this up. And then the next thing that we are going to add is sweet Italian sausage. Now, I have been able to find Italian sausage on sale at my local grocery store, less expensive than ground beef. So here's my sweet Italian sausage. That's what we're gonna be using for meat. You could use ground beef if you wanted to. You could use ground chicken or even ground turkey. I believe the sweet Italian sausage lends a just flavor component to everything, and it is so good. I'm just gonna let that melt for a minute. I can smell the basil already. There is nothing better than fresh basil in the summer. All right, so I am just going to chunk this up and add the sausage. Now, if you find it in lengths, you can also take the casing off, like in a broth type of way. You can just take the casing off of it that way. If you can find those on sale, I've done that before. And we're just gonna brown up that sausage a little bit before we add in the onion and the garlic and the carrots. Now this is gonna make a nice big batch of ragu. And I will tell you from experience that it freezes very well. I use my super cubers and I will freeze it and then put them in my food saver bags. You could put them in Ziploc bags. So if you don't have a big family or you don't need something like this for leftovers, you can make it on a Sunday, have it on Sunday, maybe have it again on Tuesday. You could use the sauce and make pizza with it. You could use just a different kind of pasta. You don't have to make your own pasta. Very versatile sauce, very good. And like I said, it does freeze very well. So if you wanted to do a little batch cooking, have it tonight. So my life is changing a little bit come March, and there will be 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, that I will be coming home later and will need to put some fast meals on the table. So my weekly reset is going to change a little bit, and I'm going to show you more batch cooking as well as just food prep for a busy work week. I am going down to take care of my grandchildren 2 days a week. I am so excited. I am so excited. I just, to have that time with them is so special. All right, so we're gonna continue to let that brown a little bit, and then we will add the rest of the ingredients. So I have the sausage mostly browned, and what I'm gonna add next is my onion, my red onion, and then like I said, I had to use up some shallots, so I just used that up. And we're gonna cook that up a little bit. Just breaking up some of those onion pieces. Oh, the smell is amazing between the sausage and the basil, and then adding the onions and the shallots. It's a funny story. I can be sauteing onion and garlic in the kitchen, and my husband will walk in and say, "Oh my gosh, that smells amazing." And I'm always like, "It's just onion and garlic, honey." He loves the smell of it. This is my teenager's favorite. So then I'm gonna add some garlic, my 3 cloves of garlic in there, and just cook that until it's fragrant. And then I'm gonna add in the carrots. So it was 2 large carrots that I chopped up. Just gonna cook that for a minute. All right, so get all the good stuff off the back of that spoon. Oop. There we go. So then you are going to need 48 ounces of tomato sauce. Now, like I said, this tomato sauce is tomato sauce from our garden that we actually canned back in 23. I have not canned my tomatoes yet, which I need to get on that. They are all in the freezer. So that is going to be a big job we're gonna tackle this month before I head out to my grandkids. And then I'm just gonna stir that around. There is a jar tomato sauce that I use. I cannot remember the name of it, but it is in a jar. It's an Italian tomato sauce that I'll use. Or you can just get 48 ounces of your favorite tomato sauce with nothing in it. All right, add in the Parmesan Rind. Just get that down in there. And then I do have some dried basil that I dehydrated. So I am gonna just add some extra basil. And that is it. And you are going to let this simmer on low for about at least an hour. If you wanted to do it on low and simmer it for a couple hours, the flavors are just gonna meld even more, especially with that Parmesan Rind in it. I am just gonna put my lid on. And our ragu will be done for dinner. So I thought I'd take a break with you, warm up to some tea. I had to take my dogs outside and wow, it is blistery cold. We are expected to go down into the 20s, low teens for the next so many days. And that wind is vicious coming in. I have one little dog who loves the snow. I have the smallest Yorkie, Mulligan, does not like the snow at all or the rain. It is kind of funny, but so I thought I would take a break. Cheers, everyone. And I just want to encourage you on your own homemaking journey. I am drinking dandelion tea today, which is good for your skin and your liver, and it has a nutty flavor to it, and I enjoy it. So, and it is warm. Anyways, I want to encourage you on your homemaking. You know, there are so many times where we can feel overwhelmed. The tasks never end, whether it's cleaning bathrooms or washing your bedding or the laundry, cooking. And if you're working full time, I understand it is tough to get everything done. And sometimes things just have to go by the wayside. But I want to encourage you to find joy in the mundane. So whether you're doing laundry and you are taking it out of the dryer and folding it, or you're hanging your clothes like I do, enjoy the scent of your laundry. You know, as you're going through the week and you come home from work, or maybe you're a stay-at-home mom like I am, it can get tiresome. It can get overwhelming. the week turns into the month, and you feel at times like all you're doing is the same thing, that Groundhog Day over and over. But take time for yourself. Take a break throughout the day, your lunch hour. Enjoy something that you wanted to do, whether it is reading a little bit on your lunch hour or taking a break for yourself at home, pouring yourself a cup of coffee or tea, and just sitting down for a minute. You know, to-do lists are great. I make them, but we don't want to make such a to-do list that claims you to be a superwoman. We're not superwomen. We're not. We are women. And as such, we get tired. And at times, especially at this time of our life, we don't feel that great. We don't have the energy that we used to. We're not sleeping well at night. And I just want you to know that your worth is not tied to accomplishments or to-do lists. Your worth is because of who you are. There is only one of you out there. There is only one of me. Some people would say, thank goodness. But there's only one of you. That's your worth. That is your worth. And God loves you. He created you, and He loves you. And I guarantee you, family and friends love you too. But your self-worth is not tied to that to-do list. So I pondered that last week while I was on vacation. And of course, I came home and I just wanted to get into everything. And it's what I love to do. I love cooking and I love taking care of my home. But even in that, I still need downtime to rest, to recuperate, especially on the days where I'm not feeling well. I know lately, me and these hot flashes are just going rounds, and that doesn't make me feel great. But if I have a smaller to-do list, and I know that my bed is made every morning, I have my one load of laundry done every day, you know, the dishes are done, the kids are fed, all of that, then I can knock off those bigger chunks of cleaning tasks. Maybe one a day, clean one larger thing a day. It just makes it easier. And I just want you to know your self-worth is not how clean your house is or what accomplishments you've scored at work. And here's why I say this. I was doing a lot of thinking about this. We can put our lives into our family. We can put our lives into our jobs. We can put everything we have into everything else. But what happens when that's gone? What happens when the marriage might fail? Who are you then? And are you still worthy? Yes, you are. What happens when the children grow up and leave the house? So you're just homemaking for one or maybe two. Do you still have worth? Yes, you do. You know, what happens when you get laid off and that job that you put everything into is gone, or you retire? Are you still worthy? Yes, you are. Self-worth comes from within, and you need to know that you are the only you out there. And you can do anything. You can do anything you want to. Just don't tie that self-worth into accomplishments and to-do lists. Cheers. So we still have pasta to finish up, and I'm going to show you the final ragu at the end. And I am just wishing you a fabulous week. Take time for yourself. Do something for you this week. Okay, so I am working on the pasta, and you can see I did kind of a trial run. I wanted to see how thick I wanted the noodle. And so because this ragu is hearty and it has vegetables and meat and everything in it, I wanted a thicker noodle. So that's what we are doing today. Whoops. And I do want to preface one thing. So when I pulled the dough out of the refrigerator, it actually seemed a little too dry to me. So I popped it back in my food processor and added a tablespoon and a half of water and just processed it. And then I kneaded the dough really well before, and that's how I got it to like this point. But the consistency is awesome. So what I am doing is I have a little pasta maker here. Some of you may have the KitchenAid pasta maker. I just have this little one, so that's what I'm using today. And I am just gonna roll this out. And the first time you roll through, you're gonna take it and fold it over, so that you make it thicker, and I'm just gonna roll this a little bit. All right, let's do this again. And you don't want to pull the noodle through, you let the crank do it for you. So then I've got it like that, and I'm gonna fold it over again and put it through again. Now, if you wanted to do spaghetti and all those types of things, you can. I think I'm gonna do it one more time. Just to get the feel of the noodle that I'm looking for. There we go. Perfect. And then I am not running it through to make spaghetti, so I am just using my pizza cutter. And I am just making strips on my own. And then I do not have a drying rack. I'm okay to have some odd pieces there. I do not have a drying rack, so I put some of the semolina flour on my baking pan. And then to dry it, we will just leave it out with a towel over top of it. And I'll dust it with some more flour. Bring these two pieces around here. All right, and I am keeping the dough covered so that it does not dry out. I'm just gonna roll it a little thinner there. Some of you might make your own pasta. If you have, leave it in the comments below. I've done it, I think this is like my 4th time I've ever done it. And my machine is on 7 at this point, so it is on the largest setting. Whoop. Just gonna roll that in there. Perfect. And I'm gonna fold it over a couple more times. We're gonna go this side with it. Take off that edge. Took it off before, but oh, broth is done. So my chicken bone broth has been in the Instapot for 3 hours, pressure cooking. Just gonna lay these out here. All right, I will not keep you through the tedious. I will bring you back when I've got all my pasta done and ready to cook and show you the final ragu. Thank you for spending the day, some time out of your busy schedule with me. It means so much, and it means a lot to me to be able to share some of the things that I love, but then also help you guys, even just, you know, with our mindset of being homemakers. It can be tough. I get it. It can be tough. So I am just gonna put these on here, and then I will show you this. So then to dry them, I just sprinkle this semolina flour over top, and that way the noodles will not stick to each other, since I don't have a drying rack. All right, I'll catch you back at the end. We are in the final stretch. The ragu has been simmering for 3 hours. I started it early, and my pasta is dried, and I have boiling water ready for it to go. Now, the nice thing about homemade pasta is it cooks in minutes, anywhere from, I want to say it's like 3 to 5 minutes it's cooked. So I am so excited for this dinner, and I know my family is too. And I am gonna finish this up, show you the final thing, and I am going to wish you a great week this week. Take care of yourself. Do something for you. And in the meantime, find joy in the mundane. Okay, so I've got my homemade noodles here. Oh, they look amazing. I am so excited. And I have our ragu. And I'm just going to pour this over our homemade noodles. And there you go. It is amazing. And it's warm, and it's hearty, and it is easy to make. And I just want to remind you, no matter what you do, you are worthy. You are you, and there is only one you. So make it a great week, and I will see you back on Wednesday.